Hello and welcome to Cowboys Takeover Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Kent. And with me today, Mr. Co-host Aaron James on a draft night special, getting live reactions for the NFL draft. We're right around pick 20, right? Pittsburgh Steelers. Man, it's been a wild draft, and I know we'll get into it. But 6 quarterbacks going in the first 12 picks. First time I think first time they said in the first round, 6 quarterbacks went in the first round, and then you have 6 go within the first 12 is crazy, and it really shows the shift in the NFL and how important that quarterback position is. What were your thoughts on that?
Well, selfishly, it's good for the Cowboys because we don't need a quarterback. Outside of that, we're now looking at potentially the top 14 players instead of the top 24 players.
Big time.
So from that perspective, I'm cool with that. I feel like last year's class was much better from a quarterback room. You got Anthony Richardson, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. I mean, those guys alone, I think are going to have better careers than anyone coming in this year's draft. But I think it's more speaks to the desperation of these teams going after QBs. I mean, you look at Vikings was the shock. Broncos went out and got one after getting rid of Wilson.
Yeah. Well,
so you got some scenarios.
The Vikings I kind of expected to once Kirk Cousins left. The one that really got me was Atlanta because
that's what I meant to say. Yeah.
Yeah, he just signs their 4-year deal. It was over. I think I don't know if it was exactly 100 or over, but I know 100 was guaranteed. And then you draft a quarterback in the first, the same year. It's not like a year or two later. It's that same season. So I don't know what you do at that point because you have to make a decision on now. If Kirk Cousins plays well, what do you're just paying this kid to sit on the bench? Like you kind of backed yourself into a corner here when I felt like a lot of people thought Atlanta was a very good team and they're a quarterback away. So maybe getting some pieces on defense where they're lacking, where, the worst thing for Dallas is the top 2 players defensively on the board are both cornerbacks. Those are the top 2 players. And, in ESPN right now, the top 2 players left are the cornerbacks. So it is a tough position for Dallas, but man, that was so shocking. But it does. It speaks to the desperation of the franchise and just shows you, when you're looking at it, these teams are just taking quarterback after quarterback. Patriots just took one. The Bears just took one. And, they're making these quick decisions where it stinks now because if you don't come in and win right away, it seems like they're going to replace you very fast, which is a tough position to be in for a lot of these kids, knowing you have to come in and win now.
Yeah, and we've had the conversation before as to all the QBs that have been drafted, and you mentioned Brady Quinn was the name you gave, right? That you're like, man, you had a lot of faith in him. For me, it was Marcus Mariota. I thought he was going to have a really good NFL career, and I mean, he was decent. But I mean, how about Vince Young?
I thought he was going to be really good, especially after that national championship game. It's tough because you need a quarterback to win, and so JJ McCarthy. Does everybody believe he was going to be a first-round pick this year? When they said the kid from LSU before the season, a lot of these guys are second, third, fourth-round quarterbacks, and I know it's a good season, and JJ McCarthy, I believe, won the national championship, went undefeated, but are these guys necessarily dudes that are going to come in and lead your franchise like guys of, the Peyton Mannings and those dudes? It really feels like there's a lot of reaching for the quarterback position today.
And I was thinking even this evening coming into the draft, we're looking at lists on ESPN that have best available, right? I'm not really so sure we should put all that much weight on such a list when it comes to the NFL draft. I think it's really hard to grade that type of value of a player I mean, I think position players, it's fair, but to say this cornerback has a higher weight or level over this offensive lineman.
Well, when you're looking at a kid, like when you got a kid ranked that high, like, and I know the one thing that's going to annoy me, because last year, you're right. I think your point to the rank of the player doesn't matter. Last year, Nolan Smith dropped to the Eagles at 9. Or no, I'm sorry, not Nolan Smith, the defensive tackle dropped to him at Carter. Jalen Carter dropped to them. And then this year, you hear a lot about the Eagles wanting to go after Quinyon Mitchell, the cornerback out of Toledo, the 10th overall ranked player. And we're a pick away from the Eagles now, and he's still on the board. So to me, it's things like that sometimes, as a fan on the other side, kind of stink, because you just see a lot of, things fall the right way for them right now in drafting. But it does stink because they just, another offensive guard went off the board, another offensive lineman. There's still the one from Duke, Graham Barton, the one we talked about our last episode, still available. Tyler Guyton from Oklahoma. But some of these dudes, you just don't want to, at this point, I feel like if Graham Barton goes before Dallas picks, man, the next 3 top position dudes are all cornerbacks. And I know you don't want to take one. So if I'm Dallas, man, if the player of that offensive lineman, I'm looking at isn't there, I really look at trading back, especially if you have one of those corners there that, another team that wants to come up and get. I think this is a perfect position right now with the way things are falling with the defensive side, not getting picked, for Dallas to trade out of that first round, which would really stink, because I don't want it to go any later than 24. So I hope they get out of the first round if they do trade. But that's a viable option right now, I think.
So the last 3 offensive players of the year, offensive rookie players of the year, CJ Stroud, Garrett Wilson, and Jamar Chase. If I'm just saying, well,
good players too.
Good players. Which of those 3 would you say, give me that guy on this team?
Right now, CJ Stroud.
Okay.
I want him, I would take, because I feel like his longevity, I believe we have a number 1 in CeeDee Lamb. And that's something I think we got to talk about, try to get in before, the contracts that were just signed today by St. Brown in Detroit and Brown in Philly. That contract for CeeDee now is looking very, very large.
Expensive.
Yeah. He's going to be pushing over 30 a year. I'm thinking 33 to 35 a year. And St. Brown, I think, just got 70 guaranteed. I think it was over 90 or 100 million. That's going to be tough, man. I don't know what they're going to do, because I feel like if you want to keep winning, as much as I say don't sign Dak, I think they're going to. It seems like they, you might sign a Dak, you might lose out on Micah and CD. I would get CD done now, because I do believe Micah leaves, but that CD contract's looking a lot worse now.
I mean, I think at best we get him to a 6-year deal where you really can stretch it out. And I don't know. I mean, these players, they want a lot of bites at the apple, right? So it's not something you can look to do. AJ Brown got an extension today just before the draft. Eagles break news as the draft is launching. I think a great marketing idea for them. But the thing with AJ Brown versus CD, I feel like AJ Brown has the body of work to show for the money. I think CD really has one solid breakout season.
Is this you trying to talk yourself out of paying CD? Is that what that is?
I'm saying,
because I think he had a very good
potential.
The last
I'm saying a potential franchise tag could be coming.
No, I see. I can't. I don't want to piss CD off.
I mean, he's going to play. Looks like he's going to play under the 5th-year option.
Well,
so let's see what we get.
Right move, but the dude. In 2021, 1,100 yards, 6 touchdowns. 2022, 1,350, 9. This last year, 1,750, 12. 79 catches, 107, 135. His targets have been going up consistently, 111, 120, 156, 181. I cannot cause a riff with CeeDee Lamb. Because I do believe if out of 3 of them, I do believe Michael leaves is the one the biggest opportunity to leave. If I'm keeping Dak, I have to keep CeeDee there because CeeDee's his guy, and that's his security blanket. And you can see it in the numbers, and we saw it this season. In the beginning, when he wasn't targeting CeeDee Lamb, Dak's numbers weren't looking great. The team wasn't really driving well. Once CeeDee's targets went up, the whole offense shifted. So you got to keep him happy, I think. But that contract's going to look. It's going to be tough to put a winning team out there if you're going to pay Dak and CeeDee Lamb. But the Eagles are doing it too. So you know what? They can be done. The Eagles just paid what's his name too, their other receiver. So they're paying 2 receivers. Their quarterback's got a pretty decent contract. You know, so why can't Dallas too?
Here's what I would love to happen this year for us. And I think this year of all years would be great. Look at what the Rams did at the 177th pick in 2024. You know who it is?
No.
Puka Nacua. Dude, that guy is a beast.
Dude, Chop Robinson. So they just, a defensive end just went off the board at Miami. Looks like
they're already deep in running backs. Now we go get Mostert. We go get Achane.
Dude, that team, but the Eagles get their pick of the litter, the defensive backs. I really, I don't know where Jacksonville goes. If I'm Dallas, the only guy I'm really looking at this point is Graham Barton. To me, that has to be the pick, right?
Yeah.
Unless I don't see the Eagles definitely aren't taking him because they just locked up their center. Jacksonville, I don't, really know how they feel. They did trade back in the draft and got some capital, so they could be, that's a perfect spot for an offensive lineman, or they have their offense pretty built. They want to go get a defensive back because there's still 3 of them on the board. Probably be 2 after the Eagles draft. It really looks like Graham Barton's going to be the pick for us right now, though.
Yeah, and I thought Chop Robinson. I misread it. I thought it said running back, but he's a edge rusher.
Yes.
So Dolphins got themselves an edge rusher. Now Eagles, I'm thinking they want to replace Hassan Reddick.
No, they're going Quinyon Mitchell. There's no doubt they're going Quinyon Mitchell for me. That's been the rumor. Like the rumor was they were going to trade up for him. Mm-hmm. So, man, it's so tough too though to pass over Terrion Arnold. Man, I don't know. This dude's they got too many. It's a terrible problem to have when you have Bland and you Diggs coming back. It's really good. Do you make your defense stronger or do you have to go offensive lineman, right? We can't talk yourself out of this. You got to go. Yeah.
It's not fun. We talked about, it's not a sexy pick, but
it's the right move.
It's the right move. And, assuming that our Will McKay, has this endorsement too, right? Because we believe in the staff. We've drafted and really all throughout the draft, solid offensive linemen in different rounds. So, we'll find out in a couple minutes here, maybe 10 minutes, 12 minutes, as to if they think he's worthy at first round pick. But back to the Eagles with Quinyon Mitchell, he goes to Toledo.
Yeah,
Toledo College.
Are you kind of hating on Toledo over there, bud? You're not a big.
I mean, it's not a SEC.
A big Toledo guy. Yeah, but I mean, kid's 6 foot, runs a 4.33. Listen, I get it.
It's maybe a slot corner.
Dude, 6 foot is pretty big for corner. 4.33, some speed. Listen, I would go. You're right. Listen, between the two, I'm going Arnold because he's an SEC guy. When he
Yeah.
played Alabama, to me, it's a little, but apparently that's who the Eagles really liked and have their eye on.
Okay.
What I've heard, they've been really eyeing that kid. So listen, they have their pick the litter of the best corners. Even in the beginning of draft season, they were talking about Cooper DeJean being the best corner. And they
Mhm.
have him ranked third now. So there's still a lot of talent at that quarterback position. I
I'm
don't see them Graham Barton somebody coming up and taking him, and I don't see Jacksonville taking him either.
I'm trying to think of the last DB the Eagles drafted that was, several year all pro.
Well,
Well,
to
I
me,
mean, did they
Lito and
draft Dawkins?
well, no, yeah, but Lito Shepard, Sheldon Brown, they were both very good for a pretty long time.
Okay. But I just feel like in recent memory, they really haven't had a lot of luck with cornerbacks. And so they've went out, they brought in most recently Slay and Bradbury.
Yeah.
They seem to typically piece together their DBs, is my point.
And listen, you can't argue against it, but I do feel like that's the toughest position, to transfer in, because especially at a place like Toledo, you're not facing top talent every week. Now that you're coming to the NFL, you're going to face, CeeDee Lamb. The Giants, I think, took Neighbors, right? I don't know who Washington has. I think I'm not going to say it's not Curtis Samuel anymore. Oh, Terry McLaurin, he's very good. So yeah, you're coming in, but I don't know if he's going to be the number one there. But just the fact that you're getting at this point with the way the draft is, you're getting a top defensive player, a guy that could be, multiple guys that could have been top 10 picks any other year. That in the 20s, it just shows you how offense has changed. And even Saban said it. He's like, this is why I left. He was like, we're 15 picks into the draft and it's been all offense. Like, I'm a defensive guy. I had to step away. I can't keep doing this anymore. But yeah, that's the way the NFL is shifting. Everything's geared towards speed. And that's where you even see these offensive linemen aren't as big as they used to be. Quarterbacks are coming in like 6 foot nowadays. They don't care. So it's a faster game. It's not as much ground and pound. But there's talent there. There's still a lot of talent left on the board. But I do feel like this draft isn't as deep as other drafts.
Yeah, I get that. I get that sense as well. All right, pick is in. Come on, Birds. What'd you guys go with?
It's going to be a cornerback. I don't see any other way, because that's their biggest need too. Graham Barton.
I'm going to take the field. I don't think it's going to be cornerback.
You're going to take the field? Yeah, dude, my odds. This is going to. I'm so confident. This is like a minus 2,000 that it's going to be a cornerback. That's how confident I am. And wow. I know we're a little behind. I haven't checked, but I'm that confident. Like I would put 1,000. I'd put my mortgage on it. Yeah, if it's not a cornerback, I'm be shocked. And it is.
Roger Goodell.
No, they got to talk.
Yeah, he hasn't announced it yet. Dude, I don't know what the origin of why he always gets booed.
I don't know. I forget, but it's like, but it was really cool. It was very awesome to see Barry and them back, Barry and Calvin with that relationship. I thought it was really awesome. We get it. Like this, I miss it being just Saturday and Sunday. You can wake up at noon, buy a couple pizzas, and sit down on a Saturday and not have to worry about going to work the next day.
Yeah.
And just watch the first few rounds. And now it has to be 10 minutes a pick because they got to get all their commercials in. And this dude's announcing it for some beach. Oh, that's Jordan Mailata. Yep, there you go. Told you. That's how confident I was, buddy.
Wow.
That's who they wanted all along. I heard they were seriously considering trading up to get him. And it just played out perfect for them to get their guy, the guy they wanted at 22, the guy that's ranked 10th on most people's big. He's a top 10 guy in a lot of the big boards. You get him at 22. That's a great pick. You hope he doesn't work out because he's an Eagle, but
Yeah.
listen,
Wow. Okay.
I don't really. Does it say what Let's see. Jacksonville's on the clock. Let's go. Here we go. Draft cast. So they are best available. Best available is Arnold. They say best fit for them is a defensive tackle. So it doesn't seem like they're going offensive line. But they have Dallas. One of Dallas's needs is a wide receiver, which is not. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't think.
Yeah. I think quarterback's a bigger need than wide receiver. Yeah, it's just my shuttle shot at back, which is going to happen. It's going to be a continuous trend for a while now.
Man, how quickly you forget about Rush Hour. Was that our first episode, highs and lows? We got Rush Hour in there.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Dude, he's just like he got me last year. I believed I fell under the trap, dude. You got me, you had me. I believed it, and then that fateful night against Green Bay, just demoralized me, dude. It's so tough. Oh, it's so tough because that you can't. It was so historic. Like
you can't. I mean,
I
don't know. I mean, you have to. I feel like you have to make up your mind. You can't be so conditional on being a fan of somebody.
No, I'm done. I wasn't on the wagon before. You kind of talked me into it. I'm done. I'm not. There's no conditions. The condition is he's got to be out. We got to kick him to the curb. Let's go get ourselves. Let's be terrible for Archie next year. He's not even coming out. He's only a sophomore. Let's be terrible for Quinn Ewers. Oh no, this is even better. Let Dak play out the season. We do okay, and they're like, "Yo, Dak, you got to go." You pay CeeDee Lamb, right? Next season, you play with a bad quarterback. You go get like a Derek Carr in a 1-year deal, but you bench him and you play like a terrible quarterback. Go get Zach Wilson. Okay. You get to become the second or third team. Never go 0-16. You draft Arch Manning, and boom, Super Bowls galore. Because now you get Arch. To me, he's much more Peyton than Eli. And even if he is Eli, that's still two Super Bowl rings.
Ouch.
Yo, I'm just saying, let's go get him.
Peyton only got one with the Colts, right?
Yeah, but he still got that second one in Denver.
If you want to get rid of Dak, how about this idea? You start this year, you start Trey Lance or you start Cooper Rush.
I'm okay with Trey Lance. Listen.
Okay. Wait, hear me out.
Okay.
You start Trey Lance and Dak is on the sideline and he's so upset. He's so upset that he will waive his trade clause and be like, you know what, just get me out of here. I'll do one more year somewhere else. I want to play this year.
Okay.
So Cowboys use that as leverage to get something for him.
I'd be okay with that. And you could start. Listen, give Trey 2 years. Like I don't know how many years got left.
I think he has one more.
So you play him this year, next. Well, so one more meaning this year, or one more meaning after.
Just this year.
Okay, so and Cooper Rush, you could bring in a quarterback to start. Listen, I just say we'd be terrible for 2 years. Go get Archie Manning, sign CeeDee Lamb. We're golden. We spend the next year draft pick, another offensive lineman. We got Tyler Smith. We got Graham Barton. We got another offensive lineman next year. Boom, year after we get our quarterback, we are set.
I'm gonna go with Deion Sanders boy over Archie.
You're gonna go with Shedeur over Arch.
Yeah. I'm calling it right now.
Okay,
He'll have a better NFL career.
Oh. I just listen. He's a Manning. Like quarterback is in his blood. There's and I never got to see the old man play. He was well before my time, but I heard he was a very good quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I heard he was pretty solid. He just played on a very bad New Orleans team back in the they were terrible. They were one of the worst franchises until Sean Payton and Drew Brees got there. And then listen, both the kids went out, won 2 Super Bowls. One of the kids beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. It's it just runs the DNA. Like if Shador was a defensive back and they're talking about as a top 5 defensive back, I take him because
we're talking 3 generations deep. You have faith in a third generation.
And they even said the kid's dad was the best football player, Cooper, but he got hurt. He had that whatever spinal condition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they took Brian Thomas Jr., wide receiver from LSU Jaguars. So it looks like kind of that, the Graham Barton pick seems to be the pick here.
Mm-hmm.
The other offensive linemen that we were talking about are off the board now. So it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. I don't think I'd be shocked if they went anywhere else.
Yeah,
they could just walk it up there now. Let's just get it over with,
Yeah, I mean, if someone wants to trade and they tell you we're going to take this position or that position, and the other few teams don't, aren't projected to take an O lineman.
Listen, if it would have to blow me out. Like I'd want at least a second as well, but I'd want unless you're trading out of the first.
Okay.
If you're trading, like I'd want something decent because I think Tampa Bay, Green Bay are probably guys. Green Bay definitely could use an offensive lineman. I don't know about center. I know they just lost. They let Bakhtiari go, so I know they're. They may need some. I haven't really looked at who they signed, but I know they were projected to take an offensive lineman. So I don't see Dallas trading out at this point. If Graham Barton would have left, I think at that point there's no real need. You don't want to take best player when it's something you can't. When he's going to be the third best player at that position. It's not like an offensive lineman who's going to start. You can't take a corner.
Now, Tyler Biadasz was drafted in the 4th round.
Biadasz? Okay.
Yeah. So that's got to make you feel comfortable, right? Some confidence. We got a 1st rounder replacing a 4th rounder to a certain degree.
He had a very stellar career though. Like he was very good. I was very shocked.
Was he ever an All-Pro? I don't think he was ever.
No, he was never at that level. But he was a very solid player in the line. He had his moments. He's no Zach Martin or Travis Frederick or Tyler Smith. But
and when you got Zach Martin next to you,
you're gonna look good.
Yeah. You might be getting pancaked, but Zach Martin's elbow brings you back up.
But it just in years past they might have taken something flashy because they're the Cowboys. They want to, and this is years ago. But they're very sound. And like we went over it last, when we last discussed, we were talking. They've hit so many picks, and the offensive linemen they've taken in the 1st round have really all been fantastic.
Yeah.
With Tyler Smith's emergence last year, you drafted 3 Hall of Famers to me. I think Frederick without his conditions a Hall of Famer. And then, Tyler Smith is projecting out to be really, there's a point where Tyron Smith was the best left tackle in the league for, a good 4 or 5 year period. And Martin still is the best right guard in the league. I don't know how many, and he has been for, pretty much since his 2nd year in the league. So you can't, if they're picking a guy here that, offensive lineman, and that's where they got most of them. I believe Tyron Smith was a 10th overall. I think he was definitely, the upper half, but Frederick and Martin were both, late 20 picks. So, they know what they're doing. So I'm confident if they do get him, that he's going to come in and be a day 1 starter and look very good.
Mm-hmm. I feel like, and I think that's the proper way to do it because I feel maybe defensive lineman first, followed by offensive lineman. As far as most hesitant to pay someone, their big contract, right? I am traumatized by what happened with Albert Hainsworth.
That's a name I haven't thought of in a while.
I'm going deep here. When you think of something like that taking place, I just feel like it's a slippery slope with a big guy. a big guy that gets paid, he gains 10 more pounds than what he's supposed to, and then this just slippery slope. It's like very slow, and then all of a sudden. But
offensive linemen, I'm a little more comfortable paying just because.
Yeah, you're just pushing.
They tend to be better later in their career. You see a lot of these. Joe Thomas was really good late out.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I forget the kid that won. He went with Cincinnati the one year, I think. He retired as a Ram when they won the Super Bowl. I think, is Dallas trying to trade out? Because they're getting really, I'm sure the pick is in on right, but they're down to a minute 12 now.
Yeah, true.
It's weird to get that low unless you're trying to make a move. But I think too, there was a lot more offensive linemen taken. Like when you look at it, we're at 24. They're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 offensive linemen taken in the first 23 picks. 6 offensive linemen and 6 quarterbacks. So that tells you, I think, in the first 23 picks, more than half of the picks are quarterbacks, offensive linemen. Just tells you what and I probably had another 3 receivers in there. 4 if you want to add in Bowers. So it's you want to get your quarterback and you want to get the guy that protects your quarterback.
I don't have big expectations for Bowers. I don't know. What about you? What do you think?
You hear a lot of good things. He's a smaller tight end, so I don't know how I feel, but I want my tight end to be 6'5". I want a Travis Kelce. They don't grow on trees. But you want the bigger dudes. Bowers is a little bit smaller, but everything you hear about him, he's really good in space. Plays like a receiver. Can go get it. I don't.
Trade alert.
6'4". Okay, I told you. There we go. It's a good move to move out. I'm shocked though, with Graham Barton there.
They saw something else. I'm telling you. I said they'll only trade out if they have a higher grade on.
I want to know what they get. But did they trade? I don't know if they're back in the first round.
So Lions made NFC Championship game, so it'd be closer to the 30th pick.
Oh, okay, so they have 29th pick, so it's another 5 picks now. Well, okay. Well, the picks got to be in. So we got Green Bay. So then Green Bay, Tampa, Cardinals, Buffalo, Dallas. Well, I want to know what Dallas got for the pick now.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a live reaction, over the weekend to our pick. If it's up to you.
That's a tough one. What time is it? Yeah, it's 11. That's a tough one. We could definitely on Saturday come back. It's going to be like another hour and a half. That was tough. Trade out.
Yeah.
With the guy you want there, I felt like the guy you wanted most. I don't think Barton's going to be there come later, so I don't know. I'm curious to see what they got here to move up. Detroit moving from 29 to 24.
Yeah, they're definitely nervous, right, about what Green Bay, Tampa.
It might, and I don't, because they got a very good. They're going to go get one of the cornerbacks, I'm assuming. Because I don't see, I'm pretty sure their offensive line's pretty set, and I believe they have their center just got paid a big deal, so it's not like they need something like that. So I see this as a.
They definitely don't need an offensive lineman. Yeah, very curious here, and I'm always, cautious. Like I don't know, trading to a conference rival, they're going to be really good again.
Yeah, team that made the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and probably should have won that game.
Probably should have. Had everybody saying, "Hey, Detroit's about to be in the Super Bowl." Yeah, that's you're looking at Terry Arnold. You figure that's what it's going to be. Get up above those other teams. You would think they gave up something good. I'd like to at least before we get out see what they got.
Yeah.
I want to see if what they broke. Let me see if we can find that on Twitter real quick. Because I would say for Dallas to trade out there, you'd have to get something pretty significant to trade all the way down to 29 and not get you the guy you want. Man, that was tough. Here we go. Dallas. So Dallas receives the 29th pick in the 73rd. They give up the 24th, and they get gave up a 7th rounder. So the 73rd is what, an early 3rd round pick? Okay, it's not.
Okay.
I don't know. So that really messes with everything we're looking at now, because now it's what position. I know we'll dive into that live reaction on Saturday. Well, I guess not live reaction. We'll dive into the reaction on Saturday. Just looking right now, best available. Where do you think they go at 29 now?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you got we'll get. I believe we will get either Barton or Guyton.
You think
Tyler
Barton?
Guyton with
I don't know
Oklahoma.
if Barton drops. Guyton could be the pick there. It shocks me. I don't know. Maybe if I had to make a pick, I'd be okay going and getting Darius Robinson, edge rusher from Missouri. You know, I was thinking Adonai Mitchell. You know, I know he's a dude from Texas that runs a 3-4-3. Nope, a 4-3-4. The 3-4-3 would be impressive. He runs a 4-3-4. That would be a guy if you're not sure what you're going to do with CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that's got some speed. He's 6'2". You know, he's not the biggest dude, but he's a guy that could take the top off. And you get him in a year, you know, and if you keep CeeDee, you have weapons for, you know, either Dak or the next quarterback you bring in. So I wouldn't rule out a wide receiver at 29.
Okay.
I'm going to go wide receiver at 29 now. I don't think Barton falls to us, and I don't want to reach for an offensive lineman. I feel like to hope he falls to 29 there is tough. I think they know he may be gone, so I think they're looking in a different direction, not offensive line, which is very weird.
They must be looking at. We're going to see what offensive lineman they take, whether it be first round or fourth round, doesn't matter. And right, they probably have their draft board and say, hey, these 3 centers, they're all within 5 points of our grading system. So yeah, let's look at this guy or take a chance on this guy, or, you know, what have you. So we'll know in hindsight, but that's definitely not something we were expecting.
No, so they got the 9th pick in the 3rd round. So they got they have 2 3rd rounds, a 2nd round, you know, so maybe they could potentially move up in the 2nd if somebody drops, maybe move back up in the 1st. But so at least, you know, when we come back Saturday, we're going to know who the 1st and 2nd round pick is. So we'll be able to really, you know, dive into both those picks, you know, talk a little bit more of them. I don't know what time the draft starts Saturday. You know, maybe we'll be on after a couple of those picks. Man, I'm you know, for everyone for watching, thank you. We really appreciate it. We wish we could have been here for a live reaction. Wasn't expecting, especially with the way that draft played out, I wasn't expecting a trade back there. But yeah, it's late. I apologize. We apologize, but yeah, we'll be we'll definitely be back Saturday with the reaction after for both the 1st and 2nd round pick. Thank you, everyone who's watched tonight. We're sorry again. We do apologize, but that's what happens when you're late. Enjoy the evening. We'll see you all Saturday at some point. We'll let you know beforehand. Let's go. Let's hope Graham Barton does fall. You know, let's get it. Enjoy.